Hi everyone, these are the answers to the boy in the striped pyjamas. If the screen is shaking, I'm sorry, it's because I'm holding the phone in my hand. So the book is pretty much based on World War II, and the story is told through the eyes of like an 8-9 year old child. How innocent he is and how he sees the world, and it kind of explains the whole story that way. Because obviously kids see things differently than adults do. Anyway, so some of the questions were, what do you think? And you just make your best guess as to what you think it is. So why do you think Maria kept her head bowed? I suppose she was a servant, so that meant she probably didn't have equal rights as the Germans or the Nazis. So there probably were certain rules like that, and not making eye contact. She probably wasn't worthy of making eye contact, something like that. We know his mother was upset because her hands, she said she kept grabbing and twisting her hands, and then when she went into her own bedroom and she saw one of the helpers there, she threw her hands up in the air and walked out. So she was distressed and upset, and also she was angry at Bruno, and he had no idea why, because he had done nothing wrong. Okay, so who do you think the Fury was? Bruno often mentions the Fury, and the Fury is the Führer, which was who Hitler was. Führer is the German word for leader, and obviously if the Führer is calling to your house, you're a very, very important person. Okay, how do you know his family was wealthy? Well, first of all, I think they had 3 servants. That'd be a start, and they lived in a really big house with 5 bedrooms and a basement in the middle of the city. And also, once again, if the leader of the country is calling to your house, you can be sure you're important and wealthy. His 3 best friends, I think, were Carl, Daniel, and is it Max or Mark? I can't read my own writing. Yeah, I think it was Carl, Daniel, and Mark or Max, I think. What city did Bruno lived in? Berlin, which would be, say, in the northeast part of Germany. Okay. And why do you think they had to turn the lights off at night? Now, there's no clue to this in the book, so whatever guess you had, fair play. I would imagine that they turned the lights off at night because it was probably a blackout. Most cities had to go blackout because if they were being bombed at night time, the pilots couldn't see where the cities were. So if you had all the lights on in your city, the street lights, house lights, the planes would know where the city is and thus could bomb it. Okay. Right, chapter 2. The main differences. Well, first of all, Bruno's old house was a terraced house, 5 stories with a basement, in the middle of the city, living close to all his friends, his school, shops. He also mentions like kind of bars and restaurants, people out sitting in the streets eating and drinking. And his new house is isolated, middle of nowhere. It's a much smaller house. He describes the landing where he just walks upstairs and sees 4 bedrooms and just a small basement for the servants to live. So a big change going from the city to the countryside. And of course, he's no idea where he is or how far away from home he is. Number 2, his mother said, some people make all the decisions for us. Obviously, her husband is a very important man in the German army, and she has absolutely no say where they live. So obviously, the Führer, Hitler, came and said you have to move here to do a job, and there's no arguing or discussing it. You just had to do what you were told, and that's it. And that's pretty much how Nazi Germany worked. You were told what to do, you didn't ask questions, you just did it. Why were Maria and the other helpers so upset? Well, I think they were pretty upset because they had to move home too. You imagine if they had family, their family was in Berlin, so they were gone. And also the new house, which we don't know yet, I hate to give spoilers, also the cover of the book is a spoiler, is close to a concentration camp. And I'm sure they knew exactly where they were living. So maybe they were upset about moving and also living so close to a horrible place like that. Number 4, he wore the same uniforms without as many decorations. So the more important you are in the army, the more badges and lapels and other little things you have. So when you start off in the army, think your rank is a private and you've got no badges or medals. But as you rise through the ranks, you got an awful lot more. So obviously he was a Nazi soldier, but just younger and starting out. And 5, why did Maria change her stance when she saw the young soldier? Once again, kind of the same as the previous question. She probably had to stand a certain way for when a soldier walked in, stand up straight, head bowed. She wasn't allowed to make eye contact. Like there was a big segregation in society where if you were a soldier or a Nazi, you were a higher rank, you were a more important person. If you were a slave or a helper or a lesser person for some reason, you had different rules to live. So that's pretty much it. Next week, chapter 3, 4 and 5, the question is going to be more creative writing based, and I will be looking to get your work sent back to me. Okay, so that's the only thing I'm going to ask for. Well, sorry, the only work to be sent back next week, because I want to be able to see how you're doing with that. That's all. Thanks.